Today I'm going to teach you safe dog grooming methods for a long-haired dachshund. This is Bodhi. He's a dapple. In this dog grooming session, you get to witness the very first time I work with Bodhi, which means you will not only get to watch a dog groomer build trust with a long-haired dachshund, but you get a front row seat to learn exactly how to groom this breed from start to finish. This is Bodhi before, and this is Bodhi after. I'm going to teach you how to get that coat to lay nice and flat without using sharp de-shedding tools or clipping it. In fact, there's minimal clipper work that's involved in grooming a long-haired dachshund, such as carefully venting the hair from the ear, shaving the paw pads, performing that sanitary trim, you know, the dreaded sanitary trim. I'm going to show you that there's minimal sanitary trimming involved with a long-haired dachshund. I'm going to show you how to prepare a long-haired dachshund in the tub with safe, effective shampooing and conditioning techniques. And yes, we're going to go over products that we're using today too. You have access to the same products that professionals use, and I'm going to link everything for you in the description below. I'm going to show you effective blow drying techniques that need to be done in order to straighten out that coat. I'm even going to show you a safe way to harness your dog on the grooming table. This is really going to help when we get to trimming Bodhi's nails. That is not something that he was a big fan of, and we're going to get to that later in this video. We're going to use a dog grooming comb and 3 different brush types on Bodhi today, all of which are going to be linked for you in the description. This trim is going to require very light scissor work, meaning not much scissor work at all. This trim is perfect for a beginner. Knowing what to trim and what not to trim in dog grooming is probably one of the biggest struggles that most people face. So that's why I make these videos for you. In this video today, you're going to learn only what needs trimmed on a long-haired dachshund and what doesn't need trimmed. One area that needs trimmed that we will be focusing strongly on today is the feet. How to create those soft, puffy, perfect, plush, long-haired dachshund feet. Are you getting excited yet for this lesson? I'm excited. I can't wait to show you how to outline the underline of your long-haired dachshund and all my secrets to perfecting this trim. Let's get started. If you don't plan on properly bathing and conditioning your long-haired dachshund, then you should stop watching this video right now. Oh good, you're still here. There are 3 products that we're going to use in the tub on Bodhi today. We're going to use the Citrus Plus 16:1 dilutable shampoo, Sentiment Spa facial shampoo made by Best Shot. This is a face safe shampoo, and the Ultra Max conditioner made by Best Shot, which is an 8:1 dilution. I'm using a tub leash to safely secure Bodhi in the tub so that he doesn't jump out. You can get them. They are handmade, linked in the description below. And remember, this is the first time I'm working with Bodhi, so I'm trying to build trust throughout every step of the groom with him. I don't know how he feels about bathing. I want to make sure I take a few minutes just to read his signals and see that he's feeling okay and that he's comfortable being in the bathtub and having me put my hands on him. I need him to feel comfortable, and I can typically tell this by taking those few minutes before we begin the bathing process. I feel like Bodhi's ready to begin, so let's get started bathing him. As a professional dog groomer, I use a Prima bathing system, and I have that citrus shampoo, which is a 16:1 dilution, in my Prima bathing system. If you don't have a bathing system, obviously you can watch my bathing workshop video and learn the proper way to bathe your dog at home. Allow this shampoo to make contact with the skin and coat for about 3 minutes. Check your water temperature, make sure it's lukewarm, not hot, not cold, and rinse the face so we can wash it. Remember that Best Shot Sentiment Spa face shampoo? We're going to use that to wash Bodhi's face because it's safe around the eyes. It's gentle. Cleaning your dog's face when you shampoo them is very important, but take caution. Try to avoid getting any product, no matter what it is, in the eyes. So I usually just massage it gently and slowly around the face, especially in the lip area. And when I get to around the eyes, I gently come down in front of them with a little bit of product and water just to clean in front of the eyes because it's important to get that area clean. And just as important as it is to shampoo our dog, it's very important to over rinse our dog after the shampoo. You want to get every bit of shampoo out of the coat before we apply the conditioner, because the shampoo collected all the dirt and grime. The surfactants in the shampoo did that for us, but conditioner does something different. It hydrates the skin and coat, so we need to get the shampoo out of there. We want to stop that shampooing process before we condition the coat. So now, remember I talked about dilution, and that's all in my bathing workshop video. You want to dilute your shampoo and you want to dilute your conditioner as recommended on the label. But here's the thing about conditioner. It's the magic sauce. It's the secret sauce to preparing this coat so that we can get a nice, flat, beautiful, straight coat on Bodhi when it comes time to finish this groom. So be sure to apply the conditioner liberally everywhere in the coat. Paw pads, face, everything, and let it sit for about 5 minutes. As it's sitting, we're going to gently use our slicker brush and move the conditioner all the way through the coat. This is what is going to de-shed, gently and safely de-shed our long-haired dachshund. His skin is wet, it's soft, so we have to gently slicker brush in the direction of the lay of the coat to remove the dead hair. This diagram shows the lay of the coat, the direction you'll be brushing. The long-haired dachshund is a double coat, so they have undercoat, and this is the time that we're going to be removing it in the tub, so take your time with this process. Might I add that Bodhi is being a complete angel. He is working with me beautifully, and a lot of that is us building trust, taking our time together. I didn't just throw him in the tub and begin this process because it's lengthy, and I wanted him to be comfortable and confident during his bathing and for the trimming especially. We're coming up to that. So all these things that we're doing before we even get to trimming nails or using a clipper in the pads of feet is conditioning Bodhi to trust me. Now for the final rinse, and this will end the bathing part of the groom. Remember I explained earlier how important it was to over rinse all the shampoo from the skin and coat after the shampooing process, before the conditioner. After the conditioning step, we have to thoroughly rinse all the product out of the coat if we want this to be a top-notch groom, and it's gonna be, trust me, you just wait. Over rinsing all the product out of the coat and taking your time rinsing is very important, because if we leave any product in the coat, anything, it's going to become tacky and sticky right away. Within a day of the groom, dirt and grime will start to stick in the coat instead of be repelled from the coat. How do you tell when all the conditioner is rinsed from the coat? When the water runs clear and it has no milky color to it at all, or no sudsy look, then you're completely rinsed. And time to grab a towel. I'm using a warm cotton towel to dry Bodhi's face, and I'm going to be using this towel for something else here in a minute, so see if you can spot it. If you do, leave a comment below and tell me where I use this towel during Bodhi's grooming session. I always clean the ears after the bath and after I've toweled off his face. If by chance any water found its way into the ears during the bathing process, this is going to take care of that. Using the Bark to Basics ear cleaner, squeeze a good bit of it onto a cotton ball, clean inside the ear as far in as you can see. That's it. Some of that solution is going to make its way down into the ear, which is good. Then when Bodhi shakes, after we clean his ears, he's going to shake out any remaining ear cleaner or debris in his ear, and we can wipe it away at that point. Now I'm ready to towel off the rest of his body. It's important to remove as much water from the coat before the drying process as you can, and that's where the absorber towel comes in. I use these on every dog. They are like a sponge to remove as much excess water out of the skin and coat before drying your dog. It really helps speed up the drying process, which is a good thing. Probably one of the least favorite parts of the groom for the dog is the drying process and the nails. When you notice that your absorber towel is starting to get really full of water, you just wring it out. It's great. You wring it out and you continue to dry your dog with the absorber towel before we get him up on the grooming table to dry him. Now I'm switching to a grooming table lead. This is a different lead than my tub leash. This is called the Groomer's Helper table lead, and I love it because it adjusts safely to the dog, but I can use it a little differently here today with Bodhi. I'm gonna slide one of his legs through this table lead instead of having it around his neck like you typically would on a table leash. Why? Because I don't know what his table manners are. I don't know how he's going to behave for me on the table. Is he going to be real lungy? Is he going to try to get off? This protects his throat area. As we're moving into the drying stage of this groom, I don't know how he's going to accept that. So I'm going to use a happy hoodie on Bodhi, which is just kind of a swaddling method used to help calm dogs if they're feeling uncomfortable. Especially dryers. Dryers can do that. So can nail trimming. Bodhi's not even a year old, and I don't know how he feels about nail trimming. Most dachshunds do not like it. As it turns out, neither does Bodhi. So I keep reminding him with every nail I trim, I touch him. I help to calm him when I put my hand back on him. See? I put my hands back on him every time to say, hey, I'm here. You're not in this alone, and I'm not going to hurt you. And it seemed to work. It really seemed to help calm Bodhi down. And I do this a lot with many dogs that I groom. I will touch them after every nail just to remind them that I'm here with them. They're not alone. I have an amazing video on my channel. I'll link it in the description below. It's with a little dachshund named Darcy who was terrified, traumatized from nail trims, and I broke through that with her. Nobody in this town, including our vets, could trim her nails, and I got to the point where I could have her on the table calmly and allow her to let me trim her nails. And so I can tell you from experience that being patient and finding ways to comfort dogs during nail trims is the key. It's the secret, and it's going to take several sessions till they really truly understand that it's okay and that they trust you. So that video is linked below. I hope you go watch it after you're done watching this video. It's amazing. And as you can see, Bodhi and I are having success today. We have come a long way just in one session. Moving on, drying. We need a comb, a boar bristle brush, a slicker brush, and a pin brush. These are the tools I'm going to be using to straighten out his coat and to properly dry and brush Bodhi before we trim him. You'll see me switching between these 4 tools often as we begin the drying process with Bodhi. I'm starting with a high velocity forced air dryer, a little under medium speed. I've got to get him used to this. I've got to let him trust this process too. Dryers are loud and dogs can really go to a bad place in their head if they're afraid of the dryer. The important thing is to not allow them to feel that it is them against the dryer, that you are actually working together. You're there with them, and your confidence brings comfort to them. Over the years, I can tell you my best tip to help a dog remain calm during the drying process, especially with a high velocity dryer, is to always keep your other hand on the dog and to remain close in proximity to the dog when you're working with them. It really makes them feel it's not them against the dryer, that you're part of this scenario, and that can help them. It's important to fully dry your dog. We're talking about a double-coated long-haired dachshund here, and I can't make this coat look beautiful and look the way it's supposed to unless it is completely dry. So this is the beginning stage of the drying process. We are going to use a stand dryer as well, and that's going to finish straightening out his coat, and this is how you do it. So Bodhi is about 85 to 90% dry right now with the forced air dryer. Now we're using a stand dryer. This dryer actually does produce heat. The heat is what's going to straighten out the coat. So the whole time I'm using the stand dryer and moving the stand dryer, moving Bodhi around into the airflow, I'm brushing. Look at this, brushing and trying to straighten out the coat. Almost like when we go to the hairdresser and we get a blowout and they straighten out our hair. You have to have that heated element. You don't want the heat real close to the skin because that's dangerous, but the airflow should be in the direction that we want the hair to lay. We are also brushing in the direction and combing in the direction that we want the hair to lay. We want to train this hair as it's drying to lay flat and not stand straight up. Remember, we want this coat to just fall and lay smooth down his back and fall underneath him. That's the way it's supposed to look. Notice I've kept his happy hoodie on all this time. I'm only going to remove the happy hoodie when it's time to dry his ears, his face, his head. So we're going to keep it on because it definitely helps to comfort him throughout the noise of the dryer. So he can endure it and, we can move forward by keeping Bodhi comfortable, calm, and happy. Now I have that boar bristle brush in my hand, don't I? That is very nice for fluffing and polishing and pointing the hair in the direction I want it to dry in. So you see me switching back and forth between the pin brush, the boar bristle brush, the comb, the slicker brush. What is the reason why I keep switching? The boar bristle brush polishes and softens the coat, especially in areas where the coat's very soft anyway, like, behind the ears, on top of the ears, the tops of the feet, his little britches in the back. It softens. Then I'll take my comb and stretch dry. Stretch the hair to dry straight, and I keep switching between brush and comb. The comb through an area that I just brushed to stretch it out and help make it dry straight. The slicker brush, as I'm using now, helps continue to remove loose undercoat or dead coat. We want that out. If we have too much dead coat or undercoat in the coat, it's going to make it stand up, and we want it to lay flat. The pin brush is less aggressive in removing undercoat than a slicker brush, but it really helps direct the hair nicely when you're trying to dry it in a certain direction. Remember, this coat has to be dried flat. Switching between these three brushes and the comb is definitely going to get us there. But right now, it's time for the boar bristle brush to shine. Here on the tops of the ears, the silky hair at the ears and right at the throat area, this brush shines. It is the brush for these soft, cottony areas. It polishes them and it softens, and it just gives a very plush, soft look while we're straightening the hair at the same time. Especially great here at the soft little velvet area at the end of their ears here. The long-haired dachshund has this really soft, beautiful velvet coat on their ears. And then they have this long, soft, silky hair over top of that, which we will be taming down in a little bit with our shears. But we've got to straighten out this hair as much as possible. So here we go back to the comb and we're stretch drying, where we slowly pull the hair straight with a comb while the air dries it. If we leave a wrinkly coat here on the ears or anywhere on this dog, we will not be able to get the look we're after. It has to be straight as possible and over dried. Are you ready for the home stretch? Are you ready to do the clipper work and the scissor work? This is what you've been waiting for. This is what makes this trim amazing. Let's do it. First, I'm going to vent the ears. This is the Joy Z Hornet. This is an adjustable clipper, and I'm going to set it to a 10 blade. Don't go any shorter than a 10 blade here. It can cause irritation. And I'm just removing the hair right in front of his earlobe. This is bulky. When his ear is down and laying flat, it is just thick, bulky hair. We want the head to pop. We don't want to remove a lot of hair on top of the ears, but we need to get rid of this bulk. It is much safer to remove this hair in this area with a number 10 blade on a clipper. You can use an adjustable blade clipper or a number 10 blade on a detachable blade clipper. But I do want to warn you, you can nick a dog or cut a dog in this area with a clipper. So proceed with caution. I'm switching my blade to a 15, which is a slight bit shorter than the 10. And we're going to trim these paw pads. And when we trim the paw pads, we're trying to remove all the hair underneath the pad, everything the dog's going to be standing on. This is going to collect dirt and harbor things inside his paws. It can cause dogs to have skin irritation if they have a lot of hair in their paw pads and it gets a lot of buildup from things outside because they're walking on their feet. This is keeping them clean. This is part of the sanitary trim for sure. Another benefit to shaving the pads of the feet, especially on a long-haired dachshund, is the fact that they are earth dogs. They love to run around. They are very good on their feet. Keeping these paw pads free of a lot of hair gives them good traction on floors inside and outside in the terrain. Now we're going to trim in his private areas, and I'm going to actually bring this down to a 9, just a little bit longer than the 10. This area can become irritated easily, and I'm applying no pressure. I'm just kind of grazing the hair off, if that makes sense, with this number 9 blade. This is a sanitary trim, and those areas can get pretty messy. Same with around his penis. I'm just coming around and in front of the penis. That is all I am doing for the sanitary trim here. And I'm only grazing. I'm putting no pressure on this blade. Just barely moving the hair with the blade, not even touching the skin. Some people choose not to remove any of the hair on the penis for the long-haired dachshund, and that's fine too. When I get to trimming the underline of Bodhi, you're going to see that it makes things look a lot nicer to remove that hair. Now it's time for scissor work. Shear magic, the magic trick. This is it. We're going to soften a lot of this with blending shears. I'm using my 7.5 inch 52 tooth blending shear, the sapphire shear made by Kenji, and I am going to remove all that bulk. I'm trying to make it look like it just never grew there, and that's why I'm using blending shears. Here's a peek at what it'll look like when I'm done. Now pulling the ear forward and flattening out the bulb of the ear there. You can feel it. Everything behind the bulb of the ear, I'm going to blend off with my blending shears. I'm only using 2 shears today in this groom. One is going to be my curved shear and the other one's my blending shear. These shears are linked below if you're interested. I am removing all of this hair when I flip the ear back like this. That is on the cheek and behind the bulb of the ear, as if it never even grew that way. We're trying to showcase the beautiful head on the long-haired dachshund. If we left a lot of that hair, it is just distracting. It's distracting from the look of the long-haired dachshund. With grooming, we can showcase the beautiful characteristics of each dog breed that we groom. If you're new to using blending shears, this shear, the 7.5 inch 52 tooth sapphire blending shear, is a safe choice. And it is a nice choice for a beginner, but it actually is the best choice for this groom. We're trying to create a very natural look with our scissor work here on this long-haired dachshund, and this shear produces the results that we want. I'm scissoring off where these 2 hair lengths come together. The hair that is growing under his throat and the hair that's coming around the side of his neck. It creates like a little cowlick, and I'm taking that off. As you can see, that's what I was doing there to make it all one length so that it doesn't obstruct from the look of his head, and his head can just really stand out and look beautiful. Once I finish one side, I check it to the other side and compare, and that tells me what I have to do to make the right side of Bodhi's throat and the back of his ears match the left side. So I do that a lot in dog grooming. I'll do a front foot and I'll match the other front foot to the one I just finished. Same with the back feet, same with the underline. I match one side to the other side. When you turn the dog around, say I want this side to line up with the side I just completed. So use each side of your dog as the guide for the opposite side when you go to trim that side. And here you can see we're lining up the right side of his throat and his chest to the left side, taking a look at it, combing it out so we can see exactly what we need to scissor off and be accurate. And we're just following our work from the other side. After we've determined that the other side looks good and we're happy, following the same work on the opposite side so that the trim looks balanced and it all comes together beautiful. Now I want to contour the shape of this ear. I don't want to remove all that hair, but I do want to soften it down. I want it to lay down. I don't want the hair on the top of his ears to become like flyaways when he runs, I don't want it to look bulky, but I do want to shape it, comb it down off the sides, the way it's going to lay off the ear. Comb it down that way and contour that shape. I'm using blending shears to do that because it leaves a nice, subtle, natural appearance. And that's what we want for the long-haired dachshund, is definitely a natural appearance. Then when we fold the ear back, we've already set the outside of the ear. We just sort of follow the same line with the ear folded back. Hold the ear out and then take off what's hanging down past the ear leather. Holding the ears out to take a look. Check the one against the other one. Just constantly checking your work. Doing a lot of combing. Comb, comb, comb before you scissor any area. You want to comb the hair to lay as if it should naturally, and then scissor it. Let's move on to them puffy plush feet. This is fun. First thing I do is I outline all the way around the foot, whatever the dog's going to be standing on. Be very careful with that back pad. I always trim parallel with the back pad so that I'm very careful not to nick it. It's tender skin. We don't want to take too much off back behind the pad. We want that to come down to the floor. Take your slicker brush and fluff up the hair between the toes and anything that's going to stick out above his plush fur that's on his foot. And we are going to scissor that soft, cottony, fluffy coat that's sticking up above his foot into the length of the plush fur. Here's a helpful tip on how I hold the dog's head away from the scissor action. You got to be a little bit of a human pretzel, but look at how I hold his head away from the scissor for his safety. A really good lesson for you to take away from this video, as well as how to trim the long-haired dachshund. If you go back and watch this video, you can turn the sound off and watch what my opposite hand is doing. That's what helps you get good behavior when you're grooming a dog, as well as it helps keep the dog comfortable and confident while you work with them. Trust me, it's a big thing. It's a real thing. For those of you that are still watching this video, I want to thank you at this point because you're really trying to learn. And since you're trying to learn, I want you to know these things. I want you to go back and watch this video with the sound off if you want to, and just watch what my opposite hand is doing throughout the entire groom. It's always assisting the dog. Now here in the back, where we call these pants, where it hangs down below their butt, I don't like to trim much of those pants off. I like it to look natural, but I do like to just tidy up right under the anus and where the tail connects to the body underneath. It just makes the tail pop. The dachshund has a flag tail, so when we hold it out, we want it to be a nice shape right up to the tip. And here in this case, I am just going to clean up right at the tip. That's all I need to do for Bodhi today. His tail's beautiful. To trim the underline, I'm just going to find the center of the tuck up and I'm going to make a U shape right there. That's it. He doesn't have a lot of furnishings hanging down underneath. Some long-haired dachshunds would have a whole lot more furnishings. But this is how I would handle them too. Find the tuck up, which is behind the last rib of the dog, and I'm just going to shape a nice round U shape coming up from the back leg in towards the chest, and that's going to shape the underline of my long-haired dachshund. And of course, we're going to turn our long-haired dachshund around and we're going to match the other side of the underline to the side we just scissored so that everything matches. Remember, we trim one side and match it up with the side we just trimmed. That's how we get a balanced look. The one thing you want to keep in mind that you would avoid when you're grooming a long-haired dachshund is to make this trim look overly scissored. You really don't want it to look overly scissored. This is a very natural looking coat. The trim is supposed to be very natural looking. It's supposed to complement this natural looking dog, the coat of the long-haired dachshund. Be sure not to over scissor. I mean, in the throat area behind the ears, we did a lot of scissor work there, but we needed to because the head is a very essential part of the look of the dachshund. So we had to accentuate that properly, not overly do it. We just did what we had to do. Blending shears really are very helpful with grooming this breed because it does help us achieve the natural look that the long-haired dachshund is supposed to carry. Sometimes we will have a lot of the soft, fuzzy, cottony fur to blend off, scissor off of the tops of the feet on the long-haired dachshund. Some of them really have serious Grinch feet, you know, but the look we're after, here's the thing. The look we're after is just the top of the foot to look soft and plush. Go to the AKC official website and look up the long-haired dachshund. That's going to tell you what the appearance should be. And that's going to be your goal in grooming, is to make the dog look like the appearance that they're supposed to have. As I'm grooming this dog, I'm constantly taking a look at him, combing through the coat, seeing how it's laying, how my scissor work looks. Do I have to go back and fine tune anything? Oftentimes, after I give the dog a trim, I go all the way around the dog and complete the trim. I'll go back, as I'm doing right now, and I'm just fine tuning. I'm taking a look at him from different angles, and I'm saying, oh yeah, you know what? This is sticking out. I need to fix this. And I just fine tune and refine the trim after I've already executed the entire trim. You'll find these little bitty mistakes or little bitty things you overlooked, and you fix them then. You fix them at the end of the trim. I would love to hear what your favorite takeaway is from watching this video with Bodhi. What you might have learned from watching this video about the long-haired dachshund. Please leave a comment so I can read it. I love feedback from my audience. The last thing I'm going to do is mist a little anti-static spray. This is a product made by Davis. I'll link it for you. Just mist a little bit of this and comb it through his coat. It helps his coat to lay nice so I can see if this trim is perfect. Do I need to work on it anymore? And yeah, usually we do. But I love the anti-static spray, especially just to mist through the coat after I'm done grooming a dog and comb it through so that the coat can lay nice for me and I can really see, is it good? Do I have to go back and fine tune anything at this point? But what do you think? What do you think of Bodhi, guys? Isn't he the best? We are so thankful for you, Bodhi. You were so fun to groom and you're such a young dog, but you did great. And we safely completed this groom on Bodhi today. He's happy, I'm happy, Mom's gonna be happy. What do you guys think? We got those soft plush top feet, great contour on the ears and the throat and the chest pops. I'm very happy with his profile and just the overall outline. I think that I accentuated what needed to be accentuated here. On Bodhi, definitely left a lot of his beautiful natural coat. I definitely want to showcase that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.